సో టైమింగ్స్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంటది కదా.
ఆ
టైమింగ్స్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంటది కదా.
మిడిల్ లో ఉన్నాయి కదా.
అవునవును అదే.
మ్మ్.
సో ఇలా ప్రిపేర్ చేశాను మాస్టర్, వాట్ ఈస్ డాట్ నెట్ ఇవన్నీ.
అని నువ్వు మాట్లాడతావు, నీకు చూపించాల్సిన పనిలే నాకు.
కంపెనీ ఓనర్ కదా అందుకనే చెప్పి.
ఏంటి మరి ఈరోజు ప్రోగ్రామ్?
ఏం లేదు, ఇది డెమో అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇట్లా అంటే ఇన్లాస్ వాళ్ళ ఇంటికి వెళ్ళాలి. నీదేంటి?
కూరగాయలు తీసుకురావాలి.
ఇన్ని చేసుకుంటే అవన్నీ బాగానే చేస్తున్నావు.
ఆ?
ఇన్ని చేసుకుంటే అవన్నీ బాగానే చేస్తున్నావు అంటుంది.
ఇవి చేసి ఎవరు పట్టించుకోరు. అవి 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 చేస్తేనే ఇంట్లో ఫుడ్ పెట్టింది. ఆహా.
అవును.
చెప్పు. గణేష్ అంకుల్ ఉన్నాడు చూడు. హాయ్ గణేష్ అంకుల్. గణేష్ అంకుల్ చెప్పు, హాయ్ చెప్పు. ఏమేమేమి చెప్పిన మాట విన్నాడు మాస్టర్డు.
మహేష్ హాయ్.
చెప్పు హాయ్ అంకుల్ అని చెప్పు. చెప్పల్లా, అప్పుడు యూఎస్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు మాట్లాడేది.
ఏం మాస్టర్ ఎవరు రావట్లేదు.
చూద్దాం చూద్దాం, 5 minutes వెయిట్ చేద్దాం మాస్టర్.
ఓకే ఓకే.
అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక 5 members నిన్న మనకు కన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇచ్చారు. సండే మార్నింగ్ కదా.
అవునవును.
చూద్దాం, 5-10 minutes వెయిట్ చేద్దాం. లేకుంటే పర్లేదు, మళ్ళీ ఇంకోసారి చేసుకుంటాం మనం.
ఓకే ఓకే.
ఆన్ గోయింగ్ ప్రాసెస్ ఇదంతా.
అంతే అంతే. ఇవన్నీ మనకు అన్ని రెడీగా పెట్టుకున్నానులే, ఆయుధాలు అన్ని రెడీగా ఉంటే ఎప్పుడంటే చేసుకోవచ్చు.
పూరి జగన్నాథ్ ఒక డైలాగ్ చెప్తాడు, ఏమని తెలుసా? సినిమా హిట్ అయితే సినిమా తీయాల్సిందే, సినిమా ఫ్లాప్ అయితే సినిమా హిట్ అయితే సినిమా తీయాలి, సినిమా ఫ్లాప్ అయితే సినిమా తీయాలి. అలా అని ఊరికి వెళ్ళిపోదాం మనం అంటాడు. అట్లా.
ఓకే ఓకే.
ఏమంటావు?
అంతే అంతే. అది హిట్ కు ఫ్లాప్ కు సంబంధం లేదు కదా.
అట్లా మనకు కూడా అంతే. బ్యాచ్ జనాలు వస్తారా లేదా, మళ్ళీ వేసుకోవడం మళ్ళీ పోవడం అంతే.
అంతే అంతే. మా గుంటూరు కారము దారుణంగా ఉంది కదా.
హాయ్ సునీత. సునీత, గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సునీత. am I audible? హలో గణేష్, am I audible?
Yes yes.
Sunita, maybe you are talking in mute. Can you unmute and then talk? Ganesh, you can stop the screen sharing. You can share the screen sharing a little bit later.
Okay okay.
One second, I will send a message to Sunita. Hi, Sunita. Hello. Sunita, not able to hear you actually. Maybe your audio issue. హలో మాస్టర్ కనెక్ట్ అవుతున్నారు. ఈ ఒకరున్నా కూడా స్టార్ట్ చేసేద్దాం మాస్టర్.
Connecting to, yeah, now she connected to audio, I think.
హాయ్ సునీత.
Hi, Sunita, can you unmute yourself?
హలో సునీత. హలో.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
So we are trying to speak you from last 5 minutes. You are not at all responding.
Audible, sir. It is audible now.
Okay.
Hmm.
Chalo. Ganesh sir is the trainer of this session.
Okay.
He's so what is your background, Sunita?
MTech CSC, BTech IT.
Okay, where are you from?
I am from Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Okay. Do you have any experience, Sunita?
No, I am a fresher.
So what is your plan?
To do software job, nothing.
Okay, so that you are learning
Yeah,
.NET.
I am learning.
Okay. Do you have any do you completed any other courses?
No, .NET only I had completed.
.NET you are completed, huh?
Yeah, I had completed in 2012. Again, I am recalling that.
2012.
Yeah. I am
Then
MTech 15 pass out.
15 pass out, huh?
Uh,
Then you want to continue with the .NET now.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Ganesh sir is the trainer actually. He is going to start the session now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sir.
Yes, Sunita, do you have any basics in .NET?
Yeah, I have learned, but I can't remember anything. Again, I have to learn from point to point and end to end.
Okay.
Hi Poonam, good morning. Sir, you can continue, sir. Other students, so Poonam is also joined.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the .NET Framework live session, demo session. So today we are going to look into like what we are going to cover in our .NET training. So mostly the .NET means it comes with a .NET framework. So so when going to the .NET framework, so in .NET, like what is it? So why we need to learn .NET? So it's a software platform. It's a language neutral. So in other words, the .NET is not a language. It runtime and library. So means actually here .NET is not a language means. So we have a lot of languages we can develop on top of .NET. So one example is like a C#. C# is the language widely used for developing .NET applications. And also we have a F# and VB.NET. So these are the multiple languages are used on part of this .NET framework. So why we need a .NET actually? So .NET it is widely used. So using the .NET, so we can develop a lot of different applications like desktop applications, web-based applications, and also we can develop a lot of Windows services, normal services, web API services, like that. Lot of applications we can develop from end to end. So here, .NET is a new framework for developing a web-based and Windows-based applications within the Microsoft environment. So it is like a kind of framework the .NET provides for us. So using this .NET framework, so we can develop Windows-based and web-based. Hope you understand the Windows-based and the web-based differences. So web-based means like whatever the web pages we are developing, right? So that is like a web-based application. Nowadays, most of the applications we are going with web-based only. Earlier, actually, late in 2015 till time, so we used to have a lot of Windows-based applications, but now actually these applications are decreasing and web-based applications are increasing for each and every applications. So here actually using the .NET, what we develop, so we develop on top of this .NET framework. So we develop a lot of APIs, so which are consumed by mobile and PCs. So like that actually we need to have a common framework. Using that we can develop our applications, so which can run on the Windows and mobile applications and anywhere. So that kind of the framework this .NET provides for us. So framework offers the fundamental shift in the Microsoft strategy. So it moves the application development from the client-centric to the server-centric. So what is mean by the client-centric and the server-centric here? So client-centric means, so we can have a client applications, like whatever application you are developing on your PC, it can work as a client-centric. So for any application, so we'll be having a client. So even the browser, so whenever you are typing something on www.google.com and you're searching something, right? So that web browser is a client, and it is trying to connect to the Google server. So like that. So in order to develop any different applications in .NET, so we have to develop a server-centric server applications, and also we have to give the client applications like if you are developing applications like a Windows web-based, so so mostly the web browsers like Chrome, Edge, Internet Explorer, these are the web browsers. Using that, you can connect to the application, so that internally that application will connect to the server. From there, actually, whatever the request you are requesting, right? You request something to the server, and server will respond it, and it will return back the response to you. So like that, so we'll be developing a client and server communications. So whatever you are requesting to the server, so it will be a client. Then whatever the response you are getting from the server, it's like a server. So internally server, it will not, server means it's a server only, but it doesn't have any data related information. So the data part, so it will try to reach to the database servers. So that is like if you are taking the SQL server, so it will connect to the SQL server. Suppose you are developing one application where the student information related applications, right? So there is a website where you are adding students and you are getting their information, what their percentages and everything, calculations. So the calculation kind of thing, what we will develop in a server centric server. So the data, it is resides in a SQL server or any database server. So you can take a Oracle server, any server. The client is our web server, web application. So like that, you can develop .NET applications. Mostly the .NET applications are used for developing a web-based applications. Windows applications also you can develop based on the situations. So wherever it is required, you can develop a Windows base. So when you are developing Windows applications, right? So the client, so the server will be a somewhere it will be hosted in the internet. The client actually, again some C# related web applications we need to create. Then if you are clicking on something, then it will connect to the database, connect to the server. So server internally connects to the database like that. So hope you are getting right.
One second, sir. Hi Sunita. Hi Puram. Hi Swarup. Can you respond?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Puram? Puram, we are not able to. Hello.
No, sir. Hello.
Yes. You are fine. Whatever Sari has explained till now.
No.
Is this fast or slow? So based on your response only, then we can go ahead. So if you are talking, if you are not talking, right? So if you are having any doubts, please let me know. So we will start and we'll stop there and we will explain more. So this session would be interactable. So do you have any questions or can I go ahead?
No, sir.
No. So if you are good, so then we'll go like, oh, so what is it? So .NET means like what exactly the .NET is. So here actually the .NET means it's a .NET provides a framework to develop different kind of applications. So we can develop a web-based application and Windows-based applications. We can develop a Windows services. So why we need to have a service actually? So suppose we'll be in a real-time applications. So we are having applications. So that need to run on a particular time. So so we have a services like web services or Windows services. So in a server, so we need to run one service. So that actually in the night time, right? Most of the jobs will run in the night time. So what it does, so it will transfer one data from one location to the other location, or it will try to do something. So if you are going with any insurance applications or any other applications, so some jobs will run in the background. So that kind of jobs, why we need those jobs? Because actually it has to run without affecting the users. So mostly they will set it to run in the night time so that the server will not be busy. So like that, like we are having a services, we are having applications, we are having a web applications. So you can develop a lot of other applications in the .NET. So here the .NET application. So what a .NET application? So whenever you are developing some .NET applications, right, what internally does, so it will connect to the .NET framework. So internally .NET framework, so it will not, the .NET framework will not do anything for us. So it is only the forwarding request to the operating system and the hardware. So operating system. So what is an operating system? So if you are from the CSE background, so operating system means, so internally, if your application, if you are creating any application, right? So it creates a process internally, the process, threads. So these are the things, process and the processor. So the process, if you are, say if you need of one application, so which requires like multi-threading. So you want some background tasks to be completed without your intervention. So in that case, actually, we can create a different multiple tasks, so background tasks. So those tasks will do for you. So like that, actually, we can cover those detailed explanations in our upcoming sessions. But these are the things actually what Windows will do. So what the .NET framework will do, application will do. So these are the basic things you need to know. So this is the framework actually, framework, language, and tools. So what are the framework and application languages .NET provides? So it provides a VB.NET, VC++. So you can write VC++, C++ applications. Visual C# means C# public JavaScript. So these are the majorly used applications. So in our real-time applications, like I am working on VB.NET, so Visual C#, like C# applications also we are having. So earlier, why they are supporting VB.NET application? Actually, the VB is like completely outdated, but why the .NET framework they supporting VB applications means earlier before coming to the .NET. So we used to have a lot of VB applications which are developed 20 years back. So they need to give some compatibility, right? So whenever the Microsoft developed a .NET framework, they cannot say that we are actually stopping the VB. So you cannot able to develop your applications. It cannot be like that. So what they are providing, earlier we used to have a VB. So now in the .NET, so they are providing VB.NET. So what we can do, they are having one migration tool. So using that, you can migrate your application into the .NET framework. So that will come as a .NET, VB.NET. So like that, actually, they are providing a lot of old applications migrations so that they can support the old application, overuse the old applications. So whatever the new technology you are developing, right? So you can still develop in a C#. C# is the heart of the .NET framework. So where you can develop your applications using the C#. So here actually, so all these things, right? These are all the just frameworks. So you're writing some pseudocode on these applications. So what it will do, so the .NET framework, whatever the applications you are doing, right? So it will convert into the common language specifications, CLS. So all will go into the one common structure. So the common structure, what kind of applications you can develop, as I told in the previous videos, previous PPTs. So we will be developing web services, web forms. So web services, web forms. Why we need? What is the difference between this web services and web form? This service, right? So whatever the service we are talking about. So I was talking about the client and server. So the server contains web services. So you can host the service there. The services will be running on the all time. So web forms. So forms means actually like kind of buttons. So using that, actually, if you click something, right, it will go to the web service. So web service will act for it and it will get the data from the database and it will return to you like that. So mostly applications will have a three-tier architecture. Client, three-tier architecture. What is the three-tier architecture is? Client, server, database. So, and also we are having a Windows Forms. This is not a web application. So web applications means you need to have always a internet. For Windows applications, if you are developing a Windows application on your application and everything you are having a server in your local machine, you are having a database in your local machine, it doesn't need any internet services. In that case, you can go with the Windows Forms. So similarly, so it is also having a ADO.NET. ADO.NET, it's having a data and XML. So you can, so this is the one more framework which .NET framework provides. So using this ADO.NET, it will provides some framework. So you can connect to the database and get the details like that. So some base class libraries, and also, so here we are using the common language runtime. This is the main important topic of the .NET framework. So whatever you are developing, right? So it will convert into the CLR. So common language runtime. So it will convert into the runtime. So suppose we are creating one applications, right? Any web application, library. So that will convert into the CLR, intermediate language, IL we used to say. So that is actually, it is like independent of the any of the applications. So it will run in the any operating system like that. For that purpose, once it will convert into the CLR, then CLR contains the libraries and all other information. This is like a just a framework for the user to write in a readable language. So this is kind of a assembly language where it will convert into the, so your application will be converted here like this. I hope you are getting. So in the .NET framework, so this, as I told in the previous slide, so we are having a common language runtime. So these are the kind of applications like Windows Forms. So applications also we can develop. And the main thing of the .NET is ASP.NET. So how do we develop our web forms and the web services? Using ASP.NET. So web forms, so different forms, right? So you can create an ASP.NET applications. So it says that, so you can create a web forms and also you can create a web services. So web services, this is actually you can develop using the web APIs. So that web APIs also is a part of ASP.NET web API, we can say that. So here in ASP.NET, going forward, I will explain like what kind of applications like it. So you can have a classic ASP or classic ASP that was like earlier. Now the classic ASP is not being supported. With the ASP.NET, you can develop web forms, and also you can have your applications with the MVC applications, model view controller. So if you are going with the ASP.NET, right? So you are having an application like this, and you are having a controls. That control related code it is having in the background, backend code, and also for that any application related functionality, right? So you'll be developing on the functions kind of thing, then it will be used there. So if you are going with the MVC, so model view controller, so it is like a very structured one. So it is having a model view is for the waveform kind of thing. Controller is does the work. So whenever if you are clicking on something, you are requesting the controller. So controller will go to the server will go to the database and get the details like that. This ADO.NET, it is used for connecting to the database. This is a framework. Without this framework, you will not be able to connect to the database. Okay. So this is like more depth of CLR. What is CLR? Common Language Runtime. So CLR works like a virtual machine in executing all languages. So all .NET languages must obey the rules of this one. So what exactly this one? The object declaration, creation and use, data types, language, libraries. So these are all the things. It is like a complete runtime. So it provides a framework. So it converts everything into the whatever you are developing, right? So it will convert into the .NET CLR. So it provides a lot of information like this. So error, exception handling, data types and languages like that. So this is like a more in depth. So that I will try to cover in our regular working sessions. So this is like a kind of compilation, like why we need to know about the compilation. So background, what it will do. So whenever you are creating one ASP.NET applications or web application, anything, right? So you are developing something in a VB.NET or you coded in C#, any other language. So what it will do, it is having their own compilers. C#, it's having a C# compiler, VB.NET compiler, probably compilers here. So it will convert into the intermediate language. So which can, so if you are developing this .NET C#, right? C#, it is not understandable by the CLR. So what we need to do internally, the framework will work for you. Like you just, you'll be writing your code. If you are building, right, building your application or compiling your application, so it will convert into the intermediate language, which can, a CLR can understand. So once after it converts, so it uses the CLR, then it creates a DLL. So that DLL can be used anywhere in any other application. Okay. So this is about the in depth actually what intermediate language will do. So this what is JIT actually, just in time compilation. So this whatever if you are typing something, right? So without doing a compilation, it will give the error message. So that is because of the JIT functionality. Internally, we are having a background threads. So using that thread, the JIT will work. So these are the language already told. So Windows Forms. So so these are the kind of applications we can develop using the Windows Forms, a framework for building the rich clients. So ASP.NET. In ASP.NET, so what are the applications we are going to develop? So ASP.NET is a platform service that allows to the programmers web applications and web services in a .NET language. So this is the main application or a main technology ASP.NET. Using that, you can develop your web applications and web services using the .NET framework. So mostly, if you are creating a new applications, right, you will be using a C#. So ASP.NET. So logical evolution of ASP.NET. It supports multiple languages. So improved performance. These are all the things I will explain later. So web forms. So since we don't have much time, so I will also yeah. In coming our next sessions, right? So what I am going to cover in a .NET Core. So nowadays actually .NET earlier actually till 4.7 version of .NET framework, we used to have a old .NET framework. So now, so I'll give the little bit background about this .NET framework and so getting started with the .NET Core. So nowadays, actually, all the applications, whatever we are developing, right? I am like actually working as a senior architect in my organization. So we develop a lot of our applications, a lot of applications also we are migrating from the .NET old framework to the .NET Core. So why we need to do this .NET Core? Actually, why we need to go with this .NET Core? Why that other old related framework, why those are not supported? Because actually Microsoft moved this .NET into the .NET Core. So .NET Core, why? So this is actually .NET Core is a open source application, and it supports Azure development. So you can easily, if you are having a .NET Core development environment, right? You can easily actually, you can just right click of your application and you can host your application in the Microsoft Azure. So for that purpose, it's a open source. It's having a lot of other functionalities, and it will easily you can convert your application or host your applications into the .NET Microsoft Azure framework. Azure is a cloud framework. Okay. So .NET Core, why .NET Core? So it's having the versions and the prerequisites. .NET Core. So here, what we are going to cover here, architecture and the .NET standard, components, compilation process. So .NET Core versus the old framework, .NET framework. So we are having a comparison, like why we need to go with the .NET Core and the .NET framework. So what kind of tools we are having here? Tools and command line tools like that. Okay. So I'm just going fast because actually we have to cover a lot of things here. I just want to show you like what are the things we are going to cover in our regular sessions. So let me know like if you are having any questions, so we can stop and clarify. So if you don't have anything, then we can continue go. So these are the applications, right? So these kind of applications we can develop here. So my app, my library. So this is kind of an application. So where actually, so nowadays, so earlier actually, when I started, actually, I'm having 18 to 20 years of experience. So in my in 2000 time, 2004, 2005 to 10 like that, right? So we used to have a lot of Windows-based applications. So there actually we used to develop only for the client-to-client communications or system-to-system communications. But nowadays actually all applications, whatever we are developing, so that need to be connected using the mobiles, various devices, right? Mobile, tablets, and it need to be compatible with Mac OS, Linux OS, so Android OS, like that. So for that, like we need to have a common platform which supports all these applications. So that is the .NET Core. So here you developed one application, so it can be viewed in a mobile, in your PC. You can connect from the PC. You can connect from the mobile, connect from the tablet, from Mac OS also you can connect everywhere. So that application is supported, and also it's a open source because if something is there, right? So the community will also help to develop this framework. That's why Microsoft went with the .NET Core. So, so .NET Core 1.0 started actually. So, so they stopped giving that actually whenever we used to have like a .NET framework 4.7. Then after that they changed next version. They changed as .NET 5.0. So internally the core .NET Core 1.0. So these two are same. Okay. Earlier we used to have a .NET 4.7. So that is the old version. So they came with a new version of the .NET Core 1.0 integrated into the .NET Framework 5.0. Then after that, it is going just like that. Now the currently in our applications, we are using .NET 8.0. So in our regular applications. So here .NET architecture, right? So what are the applications we are going to develop in a .NET Core? So .NET Framework, .NET Core, and Xamarin. So this is the hope you understand this Xamarin, right? Xamarin is mobile related platform which Microsoft provides for us. Using this, so we can develop applications in a mobiles, so iOS and Android and everything. So you can use this framework Using that, you can create your mobile application. So which connects to the services, Windows services or web services, what we are going to develop. Actually, the services, right? It's a common services we will be developing. So that can be used by the mobile applications, older .NET framework, .NET Core, everywhere it will be, those will be used. So earlier, actually, the .NET 4.7. So earlier, what we used to develop in .NET framework, we used to develop WPF applications. WPF means Windows framework foundations. So, and also we used to have a Windows Forms and ASP.NET. So in .NET Core, so we are having a ASP.NET Core. So these are the standard libraries, so languages, runtimes, and everything. So why we need to go with the .NET Core? So it is like open source. It is compatible with a lot of frameworks. So the .NET Core is compatible with a .NET framework, Xamarin, Mono, and other lot of things. That's why we need to go with this is like a standard, and it is like currently many applications are going with a. So whatever the application, new applications we are developing, right? So we are developing with a .NET Core only. So even .NET Core, it supports some microservices. That is like a very advanced level. So now we are not going to cover this microservices. So a lot of applications, in current applications, we are going with the microservices. So microservice means so whatever earlier we used to have a three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture, here we are having a client and server and the database. So this is having a client will connect to the server, server will connect to the database. So we'll be getting the response back from here. So if you are going with the microservices, right? So every application, like small applications, we are considering converting into the small applications, which is like independent. You can host your application, you can do the faster development. So for that purpose, that is actually very advanced level. So for that purpose, the .NET Core evolved. So it is like open source. It's a compatible command line tools supported by Microsoft. So this they will support with a longer time. So earlier we used to have a web-based applications using the Angular, but now with the newer technologies in our development also we are using Blazor. So Blazor is a technology which Microsoft provided for us. So using that we are developing nowadays new applications. So this is a .NET runtime. So runtime is kind of a library which .NET provides. So core CLR. So it's having a framework libraries, SDKs and everything. Core, build, and debug. So how the application is getting debugged, right? So you'll be developing a application. So that need to be built or compiled or built. Then you can debug, deploy, and run. Deploy. Why we need to deploy? So because actually we need to deploy into the server. So here actually earlier we used to have a IaaS internet services. So there actually we need to host our applications or deploy our applications and run it. So these things I will cover detailed in our regular session. So what is the difference between this .NET framework and .NET Core and .NET framework? So this earlier we used to develop applications like this. It supports all the workloads, including the WinForms, WPF, WCF, and Windows machines and everything. So this supports the console, library, web applications like this. These things we'll cover in our regular sessions. So we are running out of time, I think. So, so what I'm going to cover in our regular session, actually, hope you are all learning from starting means everyone should know the basics. So whether it is a .NET framework or .NET Core, so all these concepts you need to know in order to develop .NET applications. So introduction to the .NET concepts like OOPS concepts. What is OOPS? Object-oriented programming. So object and why we need to learn about object-oriented? Everybody, I think you studied in your college that like what is OOPS? Like we are having a class, objects, and those things. So without that, actually, you cannot develop any applications. So whenever you're developing a or creating a .NET applications, right? So in C#, so you need to create a class, you need to create an object, you need to inherit. So a lot of other things which you need to know. So that basics, those basics you have to know. So .NET framework and the common language runtime CLR, like what is the .NET framework provides? So what kind of CLR it provides? So these are the things I will explain. The common language specifications. What are the specifications we are using? So there is a common type system. Everything, right? So it will convert into the. So what is the type system? So type system like we are having a types, right? Integer. So number. So we cannot directly convert or give our values to the each and every variables. So we have a different types of types like integer types, float types, string types. So our names are stored. So my name Ganesh. So that I cannot store that Ganesh into the int variable. I have to create a string variable and assign to it like that. So those differences you need to know. So introduction to the Visual Studio. So I will show. So we will create one project. So creating a project, what project will contain. So suppose we are creating one project, right? It contains a main programs or files there. What exactly it will do, that I will explain. What are the settings we need to do, references. So we can also look into that, right? So applications. So I created one sample application or so from there actually I want to connect to the server. So in that actually I need to reference different DLLs. Using that actually using the references I need to add those DLLs and consume here. So like that compilation, debugging, runtime, running an application. So these things I will cover. Language fundamentals. So these are getting into the C# data types. What kind of, I told you, right? Int, float, string kind of data types I'll be covering. So performing type conversion, what kind of type conversion? So in some situations, we are having a number, it is stored in the string, but you want to convert that into the int. So those kind of conversions, how we are going to convert it? Boxing, unboxing. So formatting the date, how do we do the for date formatting? So these things I will cover in our. So introduction to the C#. So what is the C#? Memory concepts. So memory concepts means how the actually you are creating one class, right? So how the exactly it is stored in the memory. So we are having a memory. Actually, if you are creating one application exe or anything, so one process will be created. In that actually some memory is allocated to the program. So whatever you are allocating, right? So it will store there. So how we are getting the data back from there, and so those memory concepts. If you are having a structure, how the structure is saved. So data types, what kind of data types? Arrays, namespaces. So why we need to have a namespace? Why we need to have arrays? Arrays is a collection of variables. So list is also a collection of variables. So why we need to have this arrays? We can have a one variable only, right? So suppose you are developing one application, you require like a list of marks, right? So that you can put it into the array or a structure. So those things I will cover in detail in our regular sessions. So constructors. object-oriented programming. This is very important if you are learning with any application, .NET, Java, or any application, Python, everything, right? So all modern applications, so those are all developed using the object-oriented programming. So this everyone need to know. So what are the constructors? So what are the classes and objects? So we'll be having a sample class. So if you if you want to use that, right, you have to create an object and use that. So suppose you have developed one class. Again, you don't want to modify it, right? So what you can do, you can invert that, inherit that class to your derived class, and you can do modifications according to you. So base class, it's having a common functionality. In inherited class, you can have polymorphism. What kind of? So here polymorphism is like we are having a dynamic and static polymorphism. So they will explain interfaces. What is an abstraction? Interface. Why we need to go with interface? What is the abstraction? The class, right? So whatever the class, if you mention class as abstraction, so that actually no one can create an object of that class abstract. So what you need to do, you need to inherit that class into the derived class and use it. Interface also similarly. So delegates are kind of functions are used in the .NET or C#. So using this, you can delegate your work. So threading and reflections. What is threading? So you need to have a multitasking, right? So here you are having an application, so you want to do multi-threading. So background process, one thread actually it will try to go and get the information from the database. So like that. So you can have a multiple applications, exception handling. Why this is very important if you are developing an application, exception handling. So here try, catch, if you know those things, right? Whatever the code we are developing, right? The function. So we need to put it into the try block. If any exception comes, it will throw to the catch. Then there will be getting those exceptions. There we are writing into the logs. So for something like bigger applications where I was working, right? So 1,000 lines of code. So we'll not be knowing where exactly the application is failing. So if you are using this exception handling, it will throw an exception to the caller level. Then it will cover all the logics where exactly it failed. So those things. So we need the exception handling. So ADO.NET, the basic. So this is needed to connect to the database level. So graphical user interface, GUIs. GUI means Windows-based application, web applications. So this Windows applications we can use. Like what is an application? What we are going to do? So using the toolbox, so we can create a button. We can have a text box. You enter something, click on the button. So suppose you are having a two numbers, right? A, B. A, you are having a 10, B is having a 20. So click on this add button. So what it will do, it will take the value from the A, take the value from B and add it, and it will put the result. So like that, we can have the graphical user face, GUIs, Windows-based applications. So ASP.NET is like a web applications. This is like it's having a server controls, web controls, validations. So why we need to do the validation? Suppose you are entering something, right? But the server doesn't take that value. So here only in the web application only, so we can do the validation, and before sending to the server, we need to do the validation. Master page, navigation control, one navigation to the another. So one page to another page when you are navigating, right? So you have to pass your values from the navigation. Otherwise, that other tab or other page navigations will not be known. State management, session management. So we are having a sessions. Actually, we will be storing a lot of information in the sessions. In real-time applications, I will show like why the sessions are needed. State management, session management, web services. So web services you can develop using the web APIs, WPF, Silverlight, caching, and also Blazor, so Angular. So these things we will cover in next sessions. WPF, then WCF. So this is actually, it is like outdated technology, but just I will give the brief introduction. So even WPF also nowadays no one is using WPF. Just we'll just cover it so that you can know the WPF. So link is one of the language integrated one. So using this, we can write a minimal select statement to connect to the database. You no need to have everything select star from. So employee, those things you cannot, you no need to do it. So this is having a little different framework. Using this, you can easily connect it. So link is not only to the database, it is also, you can write a queries to the XML, you can write queries to the SQL entities. So a lot of things that I will explain. MVC is a model view controller. So what is MVC? Advantages, how to build a site using MVC. So these are the things we will cover. So this is about, and also this is only the basics. Apart from this, so I will also cover detailed into the ASP.NET .NET Core. So whatever we talk, right? So everything we will go with the .NET Core. So garbage collection. Actually, why we so there is a, this is part of the CLR framework, right? So most of the time we are creating in a classes, but will not be deleting those classes or objects, whatever we are done. So that .NET framework, what it does actually having a different generations. So it will automatically delete your memory. So whenever your application, you are developing an application, you no need to consider. So earlier applications, when I was a earlier VC++, C++ developer, there we have to think about the memory. So if you are not considering, if you are not deleting memory, so it will increase your memory and you'll be having a memory leak issues. So the .NET framework, it's a good thing that, so it is actually the .NET framework, it provides a garbage collection. So that is having like, so different generations, whatever you are created, right? So it will be created, allocated into this one. Then it will move to the generation 1, generation 2. Then these things I will explain very detailed in our regular sessions. What is a garbage collection? Why we need a garbage collection? So it frees up the unreferenced objects. So you'll be using that objects, but you will not be using, right? So there is a background thread, garbage collector runs. So internally, so it will try to collect your memory, put it into the one heap memory like that. Then it will check if you are not referencing that, right? So no one is using that. So it will try to delete that. So, and also I'm having a so list of questions. I'm almost having a 500 interview related questions. So this we will also cover. I will explain all of them. You can prepare well for the interviews. So once you complete this training, right, you'll be able to crack an interview with 3 to 4 years of experience. You can keep it. So like that, I will train you guys. So with these interview questions also. So in interview questions, I'll just go with the samples. So what is the main concepts of OOPS? So what is a OOPS here? So OOPS is generally we are having objects, right? It's a class. So class, you create in a class. For that, you can create an object. So you can go with inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. So these are the things I will will explain on our daily classes. What is a constructor? So why we need to have a constructor in a class? These things, right? So I'm having these questions. So we will each topic I will cover. Then after that we will go with this each and important questions. So why important the word? What is an inheritance? Why you need an inheritance? Suppose we are having a generic class, right? this employees is having a generic class. So suppose you want to derive that and add some more functionality to it. So employee class means it is generic, right? Every employee all over the world, this class is like a generic. So according to your employee, so suppose you are working with a ABC, you are having certain priorities or properties, right? So that you can add into your own inherited class. You can use like that. So like that we will cover what even I do interviews in my organization. I know like what the interviewer will ask. So those things, what is an assembly? Those things I will explain. So we'll go. So once after this completing, right, this is like a great opportunity for you people. That if you complete this .NET session, so you'll be master in a .NET and you can crack interviews. So I will share whatever the information I'm having. I will share all the information for your future references. So you can be prepared. I will also give lab sessions. We will go through the each and everything. I will explain my real-time experience. I'm having a 20 years of real-time experience. I've developed a lot of applications, architected a lot of .NET applications. All my experience I will give to you. So like this, I will cover in our regular sessions. Soma, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, Ganesh. Thank you, Ganesh. Hi, guys. Sunita, Poonam. Do you have any questions to ask Ganesh, sir?
No queries.
Poonam. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, Poonam. Do you have any questions to ask, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Ganesh, when are you planning to start our regular batch?
Regular